today I want to talk about entrepreneurship, the struggles of entrepreneurship, and having to deal with a political and economic system. But first, I want to show you how beautiful these shorts are. Well, they're kind of cute. They're not like super gorgeous, but they're cute. I bought them at Walmart for less than $7. They match this earrings that my mom designed. This ring. These are a little more than $7. The shorts are less than $7. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the struggles of entrepreneurship. Ever since I resigned from my job in April of 2014, 4 months, within 4 months, April, May, June, July, yeah, within 4 or 5 months, I started creating my business concept for a new business developing educational products to sell to schools. Original, unique, wonderful, patentable products to sell to schools. An original idea I brought to them to try to sell them my products. And the system kind of like tried to hijack my idea and start giving it to other people, probably politically connected or who would like serve their corrupt purposes. It's just like a mess how entrepreneurship works, or rather, how not functional it is, how it doesn't work. But it's been controversial because since the start, I said I'm creating a private company, and no, I don't want to share my profits with the stock market, even though I work with subcontractors who do share their profits in the stock market, and actually they earn most of the payment that would go to my products would be to cover production costs, which is those companies that are in the stock market. So actually, if people wanted like a share of the my business, they could invest in those subcontractors I plan to hire until I can maybe do my own production. But anyway, I have said, my company's private, my profits are private. I don't plan to share them. I want to keep them for myself, and I obviously after covering the cost of production, which is where at the start most of the money would go for. But then when I do earn profits, well, I want them for myself, because when I started my company, I didn't have anything, and I had lost my home, my investment property, my 401k. I had to switch careers. So I saw it, what I'm building and creating, as an investment in my future to kind of gain back everything I have lost and more. So I can buy a beautiful house and maybe a jet and a yacht and just have a wonderful quality of life and invest. Anyway, so it's been controversial because the teachers would be like, oh, how can she profit from a business? And what about us? What about us? Well, they get paid their salaries. They have their pension plans, which are a mess. They're not funded properly. But I felt like, why do I have to um, pay for what's not my fault? And my business is to make their job easier, and I need also to cover production costs. And I don't think it's fair that they can force someone to share their profits, because it's a private business, and I have the right to design my private business whichever way I want to design my private business. It's my original idea, and if I sell for a little bit of money each product and I make cents per product, then I can make a lot of money. And I don't think there's a law that prohibits that, and there shouldn't be. That's capitalism. It's all legal. I'm not selling anything illegal. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not selling alcohol. I'm not selling cigarettes. I'm not selling things that hurt people. I'm selling something wonderful, and I want to become wealthy, and it's my right. And the teachers cannot say, because then they're educating kids to tell kids like, get an education, go work, earn your success, and then we're all going to take it away from you because we think you should share your profits. No, that's not the way it works. They do have to fix the pension system. They do have to fix the way they finance education. And that's a whole process that has to do with the government and policy and politics and teachers. But they tried to entangle me in the controversy to the point where I was in a garage earning $0 for 3 years. Not even people in Congo, Africa are that poor. The teachers earn like an average salary in Chicago, like one of the strongest unions in the country. They earn an average of $70,000 a year. So they were earning $70,000. They were gaining towards their pension. They were probably paying towards owning their home. I didn't have a home. I didn't have an investment property. I didn't have a 401k. And part of all that money that I lost, like at the end of it, what I had with me, I invested it towards developing my business plan. So I was in a garage earning zero. The teachers were earning on average 70,000 per year. So a teacher was earning $210,000 in 3 years while I was earning zero. And the whole political economic system was pinning them against me so I could share my profits, and I didn't even have profits. I had zero profits. And they were torturing me and forcing me and psychiatrically torturing me and making my life miserable so I would share my profits, and I didn't even have profits. That's where the system makes no sense. And that's where, like, the Democrats are very much in tune with the unions and Miami, the United Way, and all the United Way of Broward and of Palm Beach, and like all these non-for-profits that have no clue as to what it takes to develop a business concept. We're all like, oh yeah, oh yeah, like all ganging up against me, and I was living in a garage earning zero, while a teacher in Chicago was earning $210,000 in the 3 years that I was earning zero. I didn't even have enough money to produce most of my products. So the system makes no sense. The way, and then the media, in complicity with the politicians, in complicity with the non-for-profits, in complicity with the system, was all kind of like in the same type of boat or the same machine against me, and I was a person earning zero in a garage trying to develop a business concept. So it doesn't make sense at all. Anyway, I still don't want to share my profits from this original business idea. I still intend to keep it private, and as wealthy as I become, wonderful, great for me. That's what I want to do. I want to earn lots of money with my business, and I want kids to be inspired to say, wow, you can do something honest. You can actually get a career, earn a degree, make good use of your degree, actually working in that career, being very successful the way I was in broadcast journalism, and now with my psychology degree, developing my social emotional development products for education and healthy social emotional development in education. And then I plan to become very wealthy, yes. Um, but I'm developing a second business concept where I have decided that the business model is probably going to be, when it becomes functional and successful, and this is different from my first company, which again is going to be just for me, 100% of the profits after I cover the cost of production are going to be for me, private. And then when I die, my son will inherit that, and that's going to stay that way. But my second business concept that I'm developing, I plan to share 90% of my profits with the schools, so they can have money for whatever it is that they need for the students and the teachers and management and all their needs. And I'm trying to develop the second business concept where I'm only going to get to keep 10% of the profits, and I'm going to have expenses related to those 10% profits for management and my own, management and probably a team and my company itself. So my company is going to keep 10% of those profits, the second company I'm trying to develop, and then 90% of the profits or revenue will go for each school to invest as they see fit and as they need, whether it's teacher salary, teacher pensions, student supplies, student needs, structural infrastructure, whatever it is that the schools need. That's my second business concept. So my first one, yes, it's for myself. I have earned it. That's the way I wanted it. I want to enjoy success. I want kids to understand that they can enjoy freedom, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on private property. And I intend to, until the day I die, to maintain my first company private and earn the profits, 100% of the profits after covering the cost of production for myself. The second business concept, only 10% of the profits will be for my company. And I don't know if how much will be for myself, because it depends on the salary that I can earn from that, and it depends on how much I have to pay other people that may want to help me or may work with me in this concept. But I am trying to model it and develop it as to where 90% of the profits of this second business venture I'm trying to develop, they will go to the schools, each school that participates in my business venture. So I think that'll be a great opportunity for schools, a great incentive, and that's the second business venture I'm trying to develop. So, the people who give me such a hard time and target me and block me, I hope you understand. I continue to develop my first business concept as originally planned, and then the second business concept I'm hoping to share the majority, 90% of the profits with the schools. So I hope this will maybe make me less targeted, maybe make me less hated by the teachers' unions, and I hope they respect that my first company is for me. I don't think the teachers would want someone taking everything away from them. Their career, their home, their investments, their pension plans are not funded. I don't have a pension plan. I only have Social Security, which I contributed to, and I contributed to my 401k, and I'm still trying to find out why the teachers don't have Social Security. Why don't they get Social Security? And then why don't they, while they're working and earning a fairly good salary to start with, why don't they invest towards owning their home, maybe investing in a second property, maybe investing in, they already should invest in Social Security. They don't. I think they should, like the rest of us. But anyway, that's, for, I guess it's a debate that's still ongoing, and it's going to go on for a while. But my second venture, hopefully, those 90% of the profits that each school earns will help the schools, and it's yet to be seen how significant those profits will be. I hope they are significant, and I hope they help teachers and students and the schools. And so let's hope so, but that's my second business venture. Now, after having said that, I wanted to talk once again, and I don't want to bore you with food safety, but for me it's an important issue because I eat food every day, usually 3 times a day. So it's an issue that I think about every day. And I have said this before in Twitter, I don't know if on a video, but I have proposed to ensure our safety because I went to buy milk at the store, and then I brought it home and I put it in my refrigerator, and I left it there for a few days without opening it because I feel like if I have something sealed, I can trust that it's safe. And if it's not safe when it's sealed, then I can say, well, it came, the factory has an issue because it caused me a rash or a pain or something. So I left the milk here saying, okay, I have to think when I'm going to use most of it because it was a big jar. When I'm going to use most of it, I'll open it, so I'll prepare a recipe with it and I'll drink, and then after I open it, I kind of don't trust it anymore. It's awful to have to live this way where you can't even trust the food in your refrigerator because you're afraid someone came in to mess with it. Because I get targeted for my business, and I know for political reasons, but they're always, it's like a game to them. They're always finding an excuse. Like, society is designed as either a game or a war. So you're always like playing, but it's to survive. It's not like a game, like to have fun, but it's a game to survive, which is kind of stressful. And then, or a war to survive, which is ridiculous. Like, life is not a game, and neither is it a constant battle. And it shouldn't be that way. And they designed the system for, like, if you're an entrepreneur, and it's not a contest. I designed this original concept. It's not like, oh, who wins? Because it's something that just by starting an original idea and trying to develop it, it's my idea. I get to develop it and I get to make it the best that it can be, because that's how an original concept works. It's not like, oh, you develop an idea and let's see who knocks you down, let's see who gets you sick, let's see who kills you so someone else can take over. Or it's not a bidding process where they can compete because it wasn't something that was being implemented or utilized in the schools. It wasn't just like a regular product that was already out there that everyone was using, and they just wanted to create just another product to compete with the ones that were there. This was not something that was existent. I created something original and new, and so it's my right to develop it as best as it can be developed. Like, I can hire the best engineers in the world to develop my product because it was my original idea, and so they can't come and say, well, someone has a better idea, because they do. I'm the one who started it. We have to work together and make it work. Anyway, so back to food safety because I get targeted. So I bought the milk at the store, and then I left it in the fridge, and then I drank it, and I felt the sharpest pain. Like, I thought I was going to lose a toe. It was just so excruciatingly painful just by drinking a little bit of cereal. So I kind of like immediately identified, like, the new product I consumed today was just the milk. That's what hurt. So I threw it away. Actually, I tried returning it to the store, which I do oftentimes. I complain, I'm like, this product is bad. I tried returning it. They said they were not taking returns. So I threw it away. But I don't know, because when I went to buy it, I saw a guy standing behind me, looking exactly as to what I was getting. Then I came home and put it in the fridge, and I suspect they come in, even with an alarm system, even with a camera, and they take it out of my fridge. So I suspect maybe it wasn't the original milk, maybe they simply switched it out to another milk. And I know it's ridiculous, like, most people must think, like, how does that happen? Well, it doesn't happen to everyone. I don't think everyone out there is an award-winning journalist who's blown the whistle on corruption, who is creating a multi-million-dollar business. Actually, I'm on my third business venture. So, if you're someone like me, an award-winning journalist who had a high profile job in an important city like Chicago, who then went out and criticized political corruption, who then started your multi-billion dollar business, then you might get targeted like me. So I know not everyone gets targeted in the same way I do, and so people might be like, no, it doesn't happen. Maybe it doesn't happen to you, but it happens to me. And so, um, the milk, I don't know if they switched it out from the one I bought at the store, or if it was from the store that hurt me so much, so I had to throw it out. So I can't drink that milk. I've thought about, like, when I get my house, I want to have my own cows. That's how it is. I want to have my own trees to grow tangerines and mangoes, and I want to have control over my food. But before we get there, and for everyone else, before I get there, and for everyone else, I think it would be amazing if the companies that produce refrigerators could produce refrigerators that you can lock with a code that's not connected to the internet, so they can hack the code and open your refrigerator when you're not home. They should be able to develop a refrigerator, and I've said this before, and this is a potential idea actually that I have proposed, an original idea also. I don't know if I could earn profits from that, maybe. I'm proposing, and I proposed to Whirlpool, which is the one that manufactures this refrigerator and this freezer, if they could make a code so it gets locked, and you're the only one who can program the code, so no one else knows the code. You program it yourself. It's not connected to the internet. It's not a smart refrigerator where it sends back a signal to your phone, and it's all interconnected, because then they could just, with the same system that the alarm, they could just bypass it or hack it and get into it. And so I want a code that you program yourself. It's not connected to anywhere where it can send the signal, so you can lock your refrigerator when you're not home. So the food you put in there, you're sure and certain no one's coming in to put something in it. And same with the cabinets in the kitchen. I want codes on them, and this is a rental apartment. And so they would have to do it programmable where each resident who rents, and then when I own my home, obviously I'll own my refrigerator and my cabinets, but while I rent, I want them to have a code that I can program, and no one can know the code, and then I can be certain that when I'm not home, no one's messing with my food. It's very important. So I'm asking Whirlpool to please work on this product, or any other company who wants to work on this product. I don't know if we can share profits from the patent or not at this point. The profits from that patent, we'll see what happens in the future. I'm more concerned, I'm like focused on my own patents and my own products with my private company, and my second business venture also. But please, like, we need to improve safety for individuals in their home, whether it's rental or where it's owned by each individual. So we're not vulnerable to higher powers, like, I'm a critic of the current government, but I guess I'm good as long as the American system and the international global system, Colombian government, American government, and all the governments, because they work together in this global net, and sometimes that global net uses people and abuses people for global corruption. We're like their, I don't know, their toys, their guinea pigs, their tools, it's just sad to feel vulnerable to where they can actually mess with your food and mess with your life, whichever way they feel like it. And it's not fair. You should have rights in your home, to have a private home, and they can't break into, sabotage or poison your food or mess with you to make you sick. So I'm hoping they'll create this code for the refrigerators and for the cabins. And actually the alarm, I would hope it would work, and you wouldn't even have to, if your alarm worked and they could not bypass it, which I suspect they do, well, you wouldn't even have to worry about locking the refrigerator and locking the cabins, because just by having an alarm with a code, but the code does send a signal to the central, so they manage, like, they have access to that information and that system. So if it's a system independent from that, at least you can be sure. And then you would need that in the bathroom so they don't mess with your cosmetics. I have issues with my face cream where I put on face cream and it burns, so I felt like they put something in it. I washed it off immediately. Now I carry my face cream with me at all times in my purse. My toothpaste, so they should have cabins with locks in the bathroom so no one messes with your toothpaste, no one messes with your face cream, no one messes with anything in your bathroom, or your door can be locked with a code. That way if someone breaks in, at least you see the door is broken and you know not to trust what's in there. So I hope they improve that safety until the government learns to respect people's rights, people's privacy, people's rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And fairly quickly, I'll share a story as to how the system is designed to violate people's rights and privacy. When I had to stay at a homeless shelter because I didn't have a home, I had to buy a lock at Ace Hardware store, code lock to put in the locker at the homeless shelter. And the code comes like it's programmed already into the lock, and it has a code, and then the code has like a serial number. And then when I logged into I started doing research, and I suspect that even like if they wanted to, they could even have access to the code for that lock because it's all registered. Like when you buy it at Ace, your purchase is registered, and if someone's targeting you with all the resources that the government has to target someone when they focus on someone, and again, not everyone goes through what I go through. Not everyone is a former journalist. Again, I won't go through why I get targeted, but I do. And so I suspect even with the lock in my homeless shelter, they could get in if they wanted to. So I didn't keep anything important in the locker in the shelter. And I've seen that they have the same at gyms here. When you go to a gym, when you sign up to become a member at a gym, I think they have access to that code. If someone wanted to, while you work out, get into your locker and take something. Like, for example, I have a flash drive because my emails disappear with important documents and information to prove when I started my business, my intellectual property, my ownership. And so I keep like a flash drive with that really important information, because if they erased it off the computer, how could I prove that, well, I started this business in 2014 and this is my original idea and this is how I did it? If they erase my emails, which they do, how could I prove to lawyers or the courts or the government or whoever who tries to steal my business, how could I prove to the authorities that indeed, what I'm saying is true? And so I carry my important flash drive. If I went to the gym to work out and I had to leave my purse in my locker and they broke into it and stole my flash drive and they erased my emails, how could I prove that of what I'm saying about my business? And so they make us very vulnerable for the government and the corrupt system to take over our life, our property, our health. And I don't think it's fair for us to be this vulnerable, and I think we need a lot of improvements to guarantee people's individual rights. And it starts with food safety and the protection of private property. I hope companies listen to what I'm trying to say, or what I'm saying actually. I'm not just trying to say it, I'm actually saying it. And they take action and do what's necessary. One more thing. Yesterday I called the office here to ask if I could install a bidet because I went to buy toilet paper. There was no toilet paper at Aldi, there was no toilet paper at Walmart. Finally, I found toilet paper at Publix. There weren't that many left. It was for my ex-husband and my son because I had toilet paper, but they were running out, so they asked me for toilet paper, and it was so hard to find. So I called the office because when the handyman came to fix something in my kitchen, he told me that he installed a bidet, and then I looked on the internet. There's like a $30 thing that you could actually, it's easy to install, it seems, I thought. Or there's a more expensive bidet, so I thought, well, if I pay $30 and then $150 or something to install it, it should be better than just relying so much on toilet paper or wipes, because wipes contaminate, toilet paper contaminates. If we use bidets when we go to the bathroom, I think it'll be a way to save the environment, help the environment, because water is easier to filter than it is to biodegrade and recycle paper and wipes. Wipes are like so difficult to biodegrade, even biodegradable wipes. And so I called the office and I said, can I install a bidet, please? I had a hard time finding toilet paper. I would like to install a bidet. And I was hoping I could get a deduction from my rent because I'm investing money and then I'm leaving it here when I leave. So it's like an addition to the apartment. And they said, absolutely not. There's people who have done it and they've caused damage to the plumbing and it's forbidden and you cannot do it. Absolutely not. They said no. So my home, when I buy my home, I'll probably have a bidet installed. But maybe at the legislative level for new construction or even retrofit, they could start considering the idea of proposing installing bidets if everyone in each and bidets are kind of gross for public places because it's the way they're installed. It's like water comes out and it washes your intimate parts, your private parts. You don't want to wash your private parts at a public bidet because the water, like, you don't want to have that contact. It's kind of very private. I think it's a thing that should be done in private homes. I don't think it's something they should install in public places. But if that could be considered, that would be also a great improvement because it would help us need less toilet paper and less wipes, and it would help the environment. So those are today's concerns. I hope people understand, and I hope companies and legislators and the system and the government and people who can help, not hurt, help, will listen and do something to help. Thank you so much. Have a great day.